Bob Foster is one of the greatest fighters that doesn't get mentioned nearly enough these days. In the eyes of many experts, he's widely considered as one of the greatest light heavyweights to ever lace up the gloves. Foster was freakishly tall and slim for the division, but despite his height and long limbs, he was a devastating puncher, especially up close with that left hook. He was able to deliver the left hook in a violent, snappy way, which normally concussed his opponents when it landed. And it was this punch that would seal his defining moment, winning the title against the legendary Dick Tiger. The legendary Nigerian champion, who had faced many of boxing's greatest ever fighters, was instantly stopped once his left hook landed in the fourth. Foster is one of boxing's all-time greats. He never lost a light heavyweight title in the ring and retained the title 14 times. In his prime, he was only ever really outclassed and outfought by the much bigger heavyweights, in the form most notably of Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier. David Tua was strong, durable, and as destructive as any other heavyweight in history on his day. His short, stocky stature suited his aggressive style perfectly. Tua would aggressively close the gap and stay in the pocket with much bigger opponents, unloading destructive shots. But the one that stood out amongst the others was the absolutely brutal left hook. It was extremely fast and snappy and landed like a sledgehammer, and Tua could be versatile with the punch, throwing it to both body and head with devastating impact. And it was this punch that caused the most damage against the multiple-time heavyweight champion John Ruiz, with Tua blasting him halfway across the ring with a left hook and finishing the fight with as violent a flurry as you'll ever see in the first 20 seconds. A massive puncher with a huge knockout ratio and one of the most dangerous left hooks ever seen. Felix Trinidad was one of the greatest and most dangerous fighters of the 1990s. His phenomenal 7-year reign as welterweight champion saw him successfully retain the title 16 times, before moving up to light middleweight and middleweight to win titles before losing. At his best, he had a record of 40-0 with 33 knockouts, with wins over Oscar De La Hoya, Hector Camacho, Pernell Whitaker and William Joppy. And most of his success was centered around the Puerto Rican's devastating left hook. It was sharp, snappy and concussive. Similarly to Bob Foster's, it was thrown from a longer angle, which helped maximise the violent impact it had when landing on an opponent's chin or body. Sugar Ray Robinson can make the top 10 list of the greatest punch in any category. The legendary American is universally accepted as the greatest of all time for a reason. But two of the standout reasons are both his unprecedented knockout ratio and his seamless ability to throw combinations. And these flurries were usually concluded with a jaw-cracking left hook. The one left hook that stands out amongst all the others in Robinson's career is the one against Gene Fullmer. A seemingly effortless punch that travelled a short distance yet knocked out one of the most durable fighters of his era. But Robinson was also able to double, triple and quadruple up his left hooks. The amount of top Hall of Famers, champions and contenders that fell victim to this left hook further solidifies the greatness of the punch. You could use the great heavyweight champion Joe Louis as a perfect example of how to throw the perfect textbook punch in every single category. Louis was technical perfection on all fronts. His footwork was immaculate and he was always balanced. Every punch was short, crisp and precise, and it was packed with devastating power. And the left hook was more than capable of switching out any contender's lights at any given moment of the fight. There's a reason Louis both ranked as heavyweight champion for over a decade, as well as being considered boxing's greatest ever knockout puncher by the illustrious Ring magazine. You can't pick out a single punch that he did better than the others because he done them all so well. But in my opinion, his greatest left hook, which is one of my all-time favourites, is that against Billy Conn in their second fight. When you watch it slowly, it's pure poetry in motion. He's on the back foot, throws a right uppercut to create the momentum to unload a perfect left hook, all while maintaining the balance to hold his posture and admire his work for a second, before casually strolling off to claim another knockout victory. He's without a doubt one of the most dangerous left hookers in history. Tommy Morrison burst onto the heavyweight scene, destroying opponents with an aggressive style and a devastating left hook. That punch was by far his most dangerous tool, and the damage it was capable of doing was unprecedented. Like most great punchers, the hook was short and didn't travel much distance. And because of this, coincided with the speed, timing and accuracy of the shot, plus Morrison's natural heavy hands, meant his opponents literally wouldn't know what hit him. And this punch would take him all the way to the heavyweight title, providing a string of showreel knockouts against an array of top heavyweight champions and contenders. When he was at his very best, Mexico's Pipino Cuevas was considered the most dangerous man in boxing. He holds one of the more unique records in boxing history, having broken more facial bones of title challengers than any other world champion in history. The man quite literally had bone-crushing power, and that was evident during his 4-year reign as welterweight champion, with 11 of his 12 successful title wins ending via knockout. And there was no more dangerous punch in his arsenal than his left hook. He used to throw his shots similar to George Foreman, and when they landed, especially the left hook, you could just see the damage upon impact. Cuevas would eventually lose his title to Tommy Hearns, as well as losing to Roberto Duran. He would suffer losses quite consistently compared to other top champions, but there was a period in time where there was no one more dangerous in boxing than Cuevas. Considering his phenomenal records and achievements, I feel that he goes under the radar. In my opinion, and the opinion of most experts, Joe Frazier's left hook was the greatest we've ever seen in boxing history. Frazier's toughness, determination, and that devastating left hook was Ali's kryptonite. And throughout his reign as heavyweight champion of the world, he terrorised a string of top-level fighters with that punch. It was delivered in such a ferocious manner, with perfect technique, and an unparalleled amount of snap and torque upon impact. Furthermore, what made Frazier such an intimidating opponent is that he could subtly bob and weave his way in up close. And once that range was closed, he was utterly relentless in unleashing that left hook to both body and head. Amongst his most vicious left hook knockouts are against Bob Foster and Jimmy Ellis, and of course, that famous 15th round knockdown against Muhammad Ali.